Hello guys, welcome back to our Swasth Bharat podcast, and in today's video we have our honorable guest Dr. S.V. Kotwal sir, who is a senior consultant urologist. Hello sir.
Hello.
Welcome to our podcast sir.
Thank you, Kathy.
Yes sir. So basically we wanted to know, like, you have such a great career journey. So how did it all started and why medicine in your life?
Oh, that's a tough one. So long ago, you see, I am the son of an army officer.
Oh,
I was the eldest of 4 siblings. I've seen my father in the army and have a natural inclination. And then when the 62 war happened, I was determined to join up. But my father, who had served in Burma in the Second World War, had seen the horrors and didn't allow me to. But then I got into medicine. However, bug still was with me. After my MBBS, I thought that I must join.
So medicine was your choice, or by it just went with the flow?
No, medicine, I suppose, in my time, there weren't too many choices.
Okay.
People went in for medicine or engineering.
Yes.
Things I was interested in biology. Get into medical college, I was 16. I was underage. And there was no way, no medical college could take me. So they asked me to wait for a year because of my percentage. I got admission to Grand Medical College, Mumbai. And if I hadn't gone for medicine, I would have liked to do something else.
Yes. So medicine, why this department?
Well, urology came along much later. You see, I joined the army immediately after my MBBS. In the army, you don't jump into super specialties and specialties straight away.
Yeah.
So I joined after my MBBS. I had a very interesting time and a very happy time in the army. I mean, it's difficult to explain. It gave me the opportunity to serve in very high altitudes, deserts. It gave me an opportunity to fight in the war. I was posted as a medical officer to a infantry battalion in 1971. So we fought in the war. We actually captured about 175 square kilometers of area. So it was a good time. Also collected a lot of fractures in those times. And then I got into it. I was selected for surgery. So in the army, we have a system that you have to do 5 years of general surgery before you go in to urology. Finally, there was a choice. I could take cardiothoracic surgery or urology, and I thought urology, being an independent specialty, suited me better, and therefore urology. I got admission to All India Institute of Medical Sciences here in Delhi in 1981, completed my MCH, and I was still in the army.
So you served so many years in the uniform. So how was your experience in that?
So exactly, that's what I'm saying. It's difficult to explain or put in a few words, but it's shall I say, an experience that money can't buy.
I swear.
You cannot be rich, but you are extremely rich in terms of experience, in terms of exposure.
True. So how did All India Medical Sciences treated you?
Oh yes, AIIMS was nice, very instructive, and I might tell you that those days, you see, for stones in the ureter, there was no treatment excepting open surgery. So I invented what is called a loop catheter those times. My first publication was in 83, I think, and that earned me a lot of attention everywhere because people used to write to me, and how you do this. So the results were first posted to Udhampur and then Pune and then Delhi for a long time. And then stage came when I was to be promoted to brigadier. Well, I happen to be good at my work, so it's carried on. So that's
really inspiring. So tell us something about your career as a urologist.
See, urology, since I entered it, I've seen a vast change. And I've been witness to an era where urology has changed phenomenally. Those days of open surgery have changed now. We've gone into, for example, one of the earliest was the TURP, prostate surgery, was at that time in vogue. The other big problem was kidney stones, because stones recur, can come back, and it requires extensive open surgery. Operating on a patient for a second time, third time on the same kidney is very taxing, multiple stones and so on and so forth. So then there came about a revolution sometime in 76 abroad, but in India it came late. It is percutaneous nephrolethotomy. That is a keyhole surgery for this kidney. Laparoscopy, and then finally the robot, and there has been a sea change in the entire... not only the treatment modalities have changed, the knowledge about various illnesses has changed.
We would like to know about any latest advancement. You've already told us. So now, what are the changes? What are the advancements in that?
As I said, the advancements, it's not peculiar to urology. In all disciplines nowadays, the accent is on doing the minimal access surgery. That means that you don't have to open up a large field to take out one diamond. You just go in straight for that diamond with endoscopes, because the quality of endoscopes, the audiovisual aids have improved. The clarity that one gets with modern camera systems is phenomenal. And then naturally, when all this happens, there are improvements in equipment coming up every day, newer procedures, new fields open up every day. So it's a very dynamic field. Yes, over a period of time, I got exposed to a lot of these things. So it's been a long journey and very interesting one.
So, any of your most memorable surgery which you remember the most?
I would like to talk about gender reassignment surgery, which we
Yes.
started here in Sitaram Bhatia, and this is a new field.
Yes.
There are not very many people doing it. And we first of all set up a team for a gender clinic. And then in North India, men don't confide in women,
Exactly.
and that was a big problem. So then we started having a male sexual health clinic, so purely for males. And the hospital supported us, so at a very low cost, a person with a problem could get access to a psychiatrist, a urologist, a general surgeon, a counselor. Most important is a counselor in all this. What is known as gender identity dysphoria. Say, for example, a female trapped inside a man's body. So these people have a very poor outcome because there is no solution for them. The suicide rates are very high. They live under repression. A lot of them, they lead very unhappy lives.
Because it was kind of a taboo. They were not even
Yeah,
confident
there
enough
wasn't.
to just.
There was no outlet for them to talk.
Exactly.
Now, of course, there is newspapers, media, court judgments, so people are willing to talk about it.
Exactly.
But then I did my first male to female gender reassignment surgery here in 2005. That I remember, since you're asking me.
Yeah.
That was a big sensation because all the TV channels covered it. It was published all over it. All the newspapers carried it, and so on and so forth. So that was the beginning. Then we did a fair number. There is no training module or a mentorship that one can avail of in this country.
Yes.
So one had to read, study, work very hard, and then mock practice the operation before the thing. It's very complicated. And for example, a male to female conversion lasts about 5 to 6 hours.
Okay.
But a female to male is even more. It's not even a one-stage surgery. It has to be done in several stages.
Okay.
And then the main part of the surgery can take up to 12 hours. And we've often done 12 hours, sometimes 18 hours in one case.
Okay.
So these are prolonged surgeries which require basically reconstruction. There are some unethical practices that you might have read up.
Yes.
But there is a thing called the WPATH protocol. There's a World Professional Health Organization for Transgender Health, and we go strictly by the WPATH protocol, so there is no room for error. Firstly, a psychiatric evaluation, then endocrine treatment. By the time the patient comes to me, about 1.5 to 2 years have passed.
So how easy was it for you to just relate to your patient, like?
In the sense that patient used to first be evaluated by the psychiatrist.
Okay.
So they filter out the people who don't require surgery. A number of people who don't require surgery. For example, gender is quite different from sex.
Yes.
Gender is a rainbow of colors. It's not black or white. There are many shades of every color. To be able to do that, you require a trained psychiatrist, a person who has worked in that field. And we had 2 of them here. And so therefore that was and then we had a very close peer review that we met every week. We discussed everything with the patient, and finally when the patient comes to surgery, so it is a long-standing process. It's not something that patient walks in, I make a diagnosis and I give him a date for operation.
Yes.
No, it doesn't happen like that. And that's why very few people do it. And I would like that more and more. I've given a lot of guest lectures, orations on this all over the country. This is work for an institution to do. It's not an individual.
Exactly. Yes.
Then we started off here, and it was something that was exciting. So it was something that was different, with something that had never been done before.
New, yeah.
So therefore, that is, since you asked me what gives you satisfaction, well, all fields of urology give you satisfaction. But
So, sir, any few words you wanted to say for the aspiring urologist?
there is a whole sea of knowledge waiting for you. I would say that it is more difficult to be a good human being than to be a good surgeon. I always tell all my juniors, if you are a good surgeon or a good urologist, it's no wonder. You are trained for it and you're paid for it. It's what you do
So
outside
true.
that what makes you a better human being. So that is something that is very important. The other advice that I would give you is that for any kind of advancement to occur in any branch of medicine or any branch of science, for example, you make a rocket or create a bomb or whatever, you have to have a tubular vision. That means you focus only on that subject. As an advice given to me by a very senior surgeon many years ago when I started, you cannot work hard unless you know how to relax well. If you can't relax well, you cannot work hard over a sustained period
So
of time.
true. Yes.
You can be a sprinter, but to be a long distance runner, you have to have mental stamina, and that comes out of other interests that you have, your hobbies that you have. They are what are going to sustain you when your surgical skills wane. And therefore, it is very important to be able to relax. If you can't relax well, you can't work hard. That has been my
So
mantra.
true. With this, I have my next question, sir, that how do you manage to balance your professional and your personal life?
I'm lucky that, say, for example, my family has been very supportive.
Hmm.
Like, for example, I've got a passionate interest in Indian wildlife, and all
Wow.
of us are, and I'm fond of photography, so I photograph. It gives me greater satisfaction putting an article in say, on a wildlife subject. I've been to most of the wildlife places in this country. I've been to Africa. I've even been to Antarctica for my photography and my
Lovely.
wildlife skills. So this is an interest that one has to find time. There is enough time if you have the passion for it. I have friends in my own specialty, some of whom are excellent poets, who are excellent painters, who run marathons, who do long distance cycling. So there is time if you have an interest in it.
Exactly.
And my only advice is you must have interest outside your discipline if you are going to progress for a long time. And now I read a lot of military history, which I really like, in the sense that I don't like to just leaf through pages. At one time, when I was a young officer, I read a lot about the North African campaign, for example, in the Second World War. That I could give lectures on it. I did all my interests. I tried to go to the court because, see, when I was hunting, I was not so interested in killing the thing. I was interested in the way the animal behaves, the way the thing is that. See, if I am using a shotgun, what am I using? How does it behave? There is the pattern, the fall of shot is not the same in all kinds of shotguns. So there's a difference between a full choke, a half choke, a modified cylinder. How does the fall of shot occur? So what is called shotgun ballistics. Then there's rifle ballistics. Each is different. And I like to go to the core of it and try to know more about it instead of just the mechanical part of firing it. So these are my interests at various times. As I told you, I have an abiding interest in wildlife and military history, which I read a lot.
Perfect. Definitely, it was great meeting you,
Thank
and
you. Thank you.
such a inspiring and motivating words we had from you. So
Thank you.
thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.